Today's guest is Gabino Grhymes, a hip hop artist based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Gabino is an artist whose words speak to his passion and vision for both hip hop and the world at large. Also, a radio host and experienced businessman. If there's ever a message to be heard, Gabino is the man to deliver it. Welcome, Gabino Grhymes.
Nice to have you on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That was quite the intro.
So it's a pleasure to have you here. We've been watching you for a little bit, and we know you do a radio show. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Here in the Valley?
Yep. The Friday Night Fallout show on KRCL with my boy Keith McDonald every Friday from 10:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. on 90.9 FM KRCL. It's the longest running hip hop show in Utah.
No kidding.
Yeah. Hold on. Oh my God. Dude, we got to redo this. This cat's killing me. Hold on.
You're good. We can crop it. Yeah, you're totally good.
I am so sorry. I didn't mean.
No, you're fine.
I'm so sorry about that.
We can crop all this super easy. It's not a problem. It's pretty chill. The whole thing.
I apologize about that. All right.
No, you're fine. So what do you focus on local hip hop, or do you just play hip hop that's trending, or what do you do on the station?
Yeah, let's go over that. We are playing new music that's just on the underground tip, or some like club bangers type of things, but we definitely make it a point to play a lot of unheard artists, unsigned artists, and incorporate that well within the show. But again, we play classic hip hop, a lot of old school bangers or what have you, and then certainly are tapped in with new albums that are popping out too. I mean, if I were to say like what we play, it's honestly like whatever we want, which is awesome to be able to have that free range rather than a specific playlist that a corporate entity might instill, which is fine, but we have that free range to be able to do that. So it's whatever, really.
Fantastic. How long have you been doing that for?
2.5 years. I mean, it's 3 years, I believe, in April. So
wow.
almost about 3 years. Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been quite the ride. The Fallout show has quite the history. So I'm really, really blessed to be a part of the line of DJs who hosted the show.
That's fantastic. And so you've been doing that while you've been releasing your own music. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, yes. So the last project that I just released, Darby Hent, on December 18th, was the first official project that I've released in 9 years, roughly.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah. And so I've been more focused, like with the radio show, to build my on-air personality. That's been a really big focus, to, have that dichotomy and let both worlds live in their lanes.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, how did you get started in the whole music scene? Like, kind of what's your story? How'd you get into music?
Sure. So I always wanted to rap. I've been around hip hop since a very young age. And when I was 16, I remember watching the Big Pimpin' video. And that's, of course, Jay-Z and UGK. And I remember sitting on my homie Carlos's couch on 3rd North in Rose Park, and I was like, damn, dog, that's what I want to do. And it was one of those moments where I mean, for myself, I was like, I think I could probably do that. So I started freestyling, and it was not awesome at all. Like, I was trying my best to be ready for like the party at the end of the night. So I would freestyle like in my mirror forever. And I wouldn't end up freestyling. I just end up beatboxing for everyone else. So like other people would like be rapping, but I wanted to be involved. So I would beatbox for everyone, which is my kind of niche into the entertainment part of the music side of hip hop, because hip hop's a culture, of course, So I've always subscribed to the culture of hip hop, but after that, I went to the Air Force, and while I was chilling with my boy Aaron Pohl in Little Rock, Arkansas, I was 19 at the time. This character that was in our dorm came to our room. He was letting everyone know that he had a song coming up that was going to be played like in a crunk or junk scenario, and we were like, "Yeah, we'll bump it." And had the radio on, played it, it played rather, and like midway through his second verse, I was like, "Damn, I could write a verse, man!" Like, I feel like I could write a verse because I've always associated up to that point. I'd associated freestyle so much more to rapping rather than like actually creating raps, you know. I had not really wrote a rap before, and I was like, wow, like this guy's just across the hall from me. I think I could do this. And so I talked to Aaron. That night we made a beat on Cool Edit Pro. We downloaded it, and that's where it all started.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I actually used to live around Rose Parks too. So as you're saying that, I was down in apartments kind of over there, and so I relate to that kind of. I was in my apartment there too, where I was listening to music, and actually, so that's kind of a similar experience that I had
I feel that
as well. Yeah. So you've been involved then with the hip hop community for a while, and like you said, it's a culture more than anything else.
Yeah.
What do you think the Utah hip hop scene could use more of, or I guess what does it do well, or just kind of
sure,
what is it in your mind, you know?
Yeah, well, one of the most glaring things from, because it feels like a slightly generational gap right now, which is like more unity, I would say. I think that's been a constant theme for Utah hip hop. I've been steady within the culture out here for a strong 16 years or so 15 years, and there's been really strong unifying moments, and then there's been there's not something right now that's like bringing everyone together. Like, for example, an example would be like shows that like multiple people are getting involved with. I will say this though, what Juggy is doing with Slap Lake City is it speaks in that vein that I'm talking about as far as unifying folks from different genres within hip hop. So, and that's what we need more of, is bringing people that are backpackers with those that have a little bit more of a clubby vibe, to those that like have more of a lo-fi sound, to those that have like a gangster rap type of sound, to like your storytellers, and to meld those types of hip hop together, I think is going to be much more advantageous for the scene. I think what it's doing well though is the multitude of like the different type of music that's being pumped out. There's so much more talent, and that's really, really gratifying to see as someone who's seen a lot go through. So
yeah,
I think I think that is a great thing that's happening, is the cream is rising to the top, and it is a lot more prevalent, and it's beautiful to watch.
So as someone who's involved with the hip hop scene for so long, how have you seen like the ability to create hip hop? Have you seen that advance, like in terms of technology and the ways you have to make beats and the ways you have to distribute? What have you seen as, have things improved? I mean, you can see new talent come up. They have so many more opportunities these days, I assume, than they used to. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as being able to be seen, I think it's a very large advantage to in today's state of social media affairs, that I mean, to the progress of an artist's development. That's not to say that those folks that like made their name known on the underground tip during like the early 10s, that their hustle wasn't wasn't celebrated, because it was like folks that really like grinded super hard and for real like sold mixtapes out of a trunk. I sold for reals mixtapes at Gen X parking lots, like straight up.
No kidding.
No
Oh my
bullshit.
gosh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
100%. 100 fucking percent. And had fun doing it. It was
fantastic.
Great.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said though, still, with that grind and effort.
Yeah.
With how it is today, there's so much more outlets and different veins that you can tap into in order to promote yourself. And I think that, if I'm being totally honest, from the outside, like looking in and being in the inside right now, like there's so much that you can do to just like be happy with what you're doing. And then also like so many outlets to submit your music to get like reviews and stuff like that. It's like the world has really opened up and for real become like an artist's oyster.
What about being able to create music and like record music? I mean, because I know so many hip hop artists have, some sort of home studio where they can just record a beat really quick and get a track out. How has that advanced at the time you've seen it?
Rapidly. It was already pretty quick though. So like, I think it's just much better plugins for things, but it's always been pretty quick. I started in like 2006 roughly, so like at that time I just mentioned that we downloaded Cool Edit Pro, so like we were able to do it pretty quick. Technology is only exasperated what is already around, and everything has been super sweet to like work with it. I think the recording process, if nothing else, has just become a lot more fun with new paintbrushes that are being used. And by paintbrushes, I mean like different plugins and things of that nature that you're able to use to distort or enhance vocals and 808s and snares and hi-hats and all that. I think people are more talented too, or I'm not more talented, but I think because like there's so much access to DIY thing that, being YouTube University. I mean, folks are like playing the guitar, like mad people are playing the guitar. Shit, I could learn how to play the guitar. Like I haven't, but I mean, I'm only 35, so I got time, but like, there's a lot of folks that are teaching themselves a lot of valuable lessons through YouTube University. So I think it's enhanced in that respect. Like, but there still is something to be coveted when it comes to like a good mixer or good mixing engineer and folks that really understand how to make the sound crisp and clean.
How to put it together. No, those are good points. What do you think about the live community as far as hip hop goes in the scene? Do you think that there are enough venues for live hip hop to be I guess played? Because Utah has a large indie crowd. But what's that like for the hip hop community?
Pre-COVID, I think there was enough. I mean, post-COVID, we'll see how that all shakes out, But I think it's been fine. People fit in where they fit in. This Salt Lake City has a different hip hop market for sure than other cities but I think even still, like, folks get out and some of the main players for hip hop nights are like Urban Lounge. Urban Lounge has been a staple for the hip hop community. And then Soundwell has been making their name for sure. It used to be called the Hotel and then Elevate, obviously. So like those regular locations are still very active.
That's good. Good.
So I think there's enough outlets. I would like to see like some more hip hop shops. I don't know. I just I was talking about this the other day on the I Am Salt Lake podcast that I think Utah is just behind in a lot of different facets when it comes to being a part of the union of the United States, and hip hop as a culture and like being able to express and like have those places. I like Uprock is doing a great job. I mean, they've been around for a long time, but I think we'd be well suited by having another like Uprock or something like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, hip hop across the nation's kind of on the front lines of what's happening with you know a lot of change and a lot of that sort of thing. So I agree with you. That's a very important. In my mind, it's a very important culture, and it always has been. You know, everything that's kind of growing in every aspect across America, honestly, is I don't know.
I get what
we
you're
love
saying.
Music, but
No,
yeah,
I get what you're saying though, and you know what? As I say that, I love that I have a moment to actually think about it, because the Hip Hop Education Resource Center, the HERC,
yeah,
in Salt Lake, is a fantastic place for the community. Like we haven't had that before, and so it's amazing that they are putting on classes like DJ classes, art classes, and dance classes. So that's a place actually that I would highly suggest looking up to your listeners, like the HERC SLC.
yeah.
They're
HERC
also,
SLC.
yeah, they're also an underwriter for our show. So,
Oh, fantastic!
yeah,
Yeah, I actually I'm not familiar with HERC, so that'll be a good
yeah,
thing to check out for
yeah,
sure.
heck yeah.
So,
Yeah. So,
you released a new album, Darby Hent. Tell us more about that and like what the album experience was like for you and what the album means to you. Just kind of your experience, you know, not only recording but releasing it so far.
Yeah, the recording process was amazing. I was able to work with Matty Aston out of BayTL Studios. I hooked up with him in the making of DKM initially, and that was going to be a single. It was a single, but it was going to be like one song that we worked on together, and it went so well as far as the session was concerned. I haven't, you know, been able to be as agreeable with the engineer for a while. So, and that's not to say that I haven't been unagreeable. It's like there was just a lot of creative juices flowing. It was great. We seemed like on the same page. So, like after we made that song, I wrote the rest of the album. It was probably like 3-4 months later. In a matter of 2 weeks, and I set up time with him. I said, "Hey, I want the rest of this to go through you, and I'd like to make sure that time's scheduled." And we cracked it all out in 2 different sessions. I believe 2 4-hour sessions to crack out 8 more songs, and then like another session to crack out a couple more. But it was, the recording part was super fun. I've been recording off and on. I mean, since 2011. I did have like a point where I wanted to just like around 2017, where I was like, okay, well, I think I'm probably good on like a new project or something like that, you know. And in February of 2020, I was watching The Dark Knight, and
good show.
It's a great show. And I, for whatever reason, resonated with the Harvey Dent character. He was someone who was for his city, like incredibly, you know, and it became ostracized after some unfortunate happenings, and ended up, you know, doing what he did, and having his own sort of atonement and revenge thrown into the same Pyrex pot and then boiled. So I think it was perfect. And throughout the album, I include quotes from Harvey Dent, the character from The Dark Knight, and then I drew from a cartoon that he was in. But the recording portion of it was amazing, and what it means to me is it's almost like it is a self-affirmation. Like a lot of the songs are me talking to the universe about what I want. What I want in life. So
yeah, that's fantastic. So is that kind of I guess to anybody who's listening, what's a moment where you thought, you know, like right there, you said you needed the self-affirmation of that, the 2017 hit or 2016, and you didn't know if you were gonna go forward anymore. What's a moment that was difficult like that, and whether it be self-doubt or whatever, but you found like it was worth it to kind of get past, like looking back in hindsight, you're glad you went through that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I mean, that sounds like that album was that for you, honestly, in a large respect.
I think, are you saying, or asking rather, like, what moment did I like have, like, where did it click for me that I think I could do this again, or what?
Well, kind of like, just, just a struggle, I guess, just something where a lot of musicians, we work hard, and then you go through rocky patches, right? It's just part of the game. So what's kind of a rocky patch that I guess in hindsight, you're glad that you had to go through, in the community? Mike Masters.
Okay. Yeah. Mike Masters, the battle league that I ran out here for 3 years. From 2012 to 2015, or was it 2016? Shoot. It was a while, but that was exhausting because it was amazing though. So like but that whole experience definitely put a sour taste in my mouth for like, the scene and the industry and just like hip hop music in general. And I felt overworked and underappreciated. And all this was all on me. It's not to anyone's fault or anything. So like I had to have a moment to really process my own emotions and feelings about it, and get over that, because like I wasn't overworked, and I certainly wasn't underappreciated. I was in my feels about some other things, and what we did with Mike Masters was beautiful. It was amazing, and I mean the videos are still online now. There's it was a fun ride, but after that I was exhausted for sure. And so when Keith approached me about the Fallout show in late 2018 or early 2018, I believe, I couldn't say yes quick enough, and that was the catalyst for me wanting to start doing music again, because folks were submitting their music in, and I had that same moment I had when I started, when I was sitting on my boy's recliner watching that NBA playoff game, listening to Clearwater's song Out in Little Rock, Arkansas. I had that same aha moment and same drive of like, I think I can do this still. And I was like, let's start putting ideas together. So I released a few singles. One single in 2019 is where it really started, with Maytag 2.0 in September of 2019. And I was like, okay. And those were bars that I had wrote in 2016. So I was like, damn, I'm giving you guys 3-year-old bars and you guys are loving it. Like, I can only imagine once I start really writing some new stuff, so that's what I would say to that. That would be what I went through in order to get to where I'm at now. And I'm very thankful for Keith for even asking me to be a part of that, because the Fallout show ended up being a strong catalyst to inspire me to make music again.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And, also, not only has it been music, but I've noticed you've been posting a lot about your new merch line ever since the release, especially of the latest album. Tell us more about your merch and kind of what your vision for it, what the vision behind all of it is as you create it. Kind of walk us through that process.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wearing my hat right now. I don't know. Is this going to be on mine as a video?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm wearing it right now. Ragtown. It's a nickname for Magna, and I got the little accent, the Utah accent right here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, what it still is, and what started it was I really enjoy wearing graphic t-shirts and hats. So I wanted to have like my own personal closet, I suppose. So it turned out that I was able to start putting my ideas onto shirts and onto hoodies, and my ideas of hats that I love, because I have a ton of hats. It's just a boatload of hats. So I was like, man, I want to make my own hats. In fact, this is how deep this is. This is randomly here, but this hat right here, nice. I made this at Lids. Like, this was an idea that it's now on like hats on my store right now, but this idea is 4 years old. So this is like a 4-year-old hat from Lids.
Oh, no kidding.
And I was like, yo, man, this is like, I can see that this is going to be cool one day, like I can
Yeah.
Like it's going to be cool. And so I've been rocking this joint like forever, for like 4 years. And, but this is essentially the first prototype of like my Salt Lake City hats that I have out now.
So cool.
But
and where can people find your merch?
GabinoGrhymes.com. And that's just Gabino Grhymes, Grhymes.com. Or if it's easier, UtahRapper.com.
Cool. We'll post that in the link.
And yes, comments. I said UtahRapper.com, and yes, no one had it. So
nice. Man, that's awesome. Well, oh, sorry, boy. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, just really quick. So it seems like you've been involved in a lot of projects over the years and things like, radio and hip hop and merch and all that sort of branding stuff. What advice would you give to someone who's looking to get into new projects, like starting to build something of their own, whether it be hip hop or whether it be radio or anything?
Or business or anything. Yeah. I would say the biggest form of advice would be to just do it. You have one trip around, and it's very important for you to let your idea fail or at least gain experience. The analogy I use is throwing your idea into a pool to let it swim. And whether if it needs to have like some floaties on it, great. If you need to watch it for a while because it needs to have that guidance and supervision, even better, because you're helping it learn what. And by learn, I mean, I'm talking like market trends or whatever the case is. Like, let it go out and see if it will swim. Otherwise, you're going to be standing poolside watching everyone else's kids gain experience, gain knowledge, start swimming better, diving better, all that, while you're looking at your prototype or your idea, as it were. And, this just weak. There's nothing. They're not getting the pool scared, nothing like that. Let that thing swim, man. Let it try to swim amongst everything, and most importantly, have fun doing it. Like, when you're in your, I found through experience, it's always the greatest teacher. And so I know that I'm going to learn more as when I'm 50, I'm going to look at things that I've done now and been like, oh man, you should have did this, which is okay. That's okay though. Like, I'm not worried about that. But what I would say though is like, make like moments count more than you think that they do right now. Like, make moments count. And not just like, I'm not saying just like live in the moments, make them, be meticulous where you need to be meticulous, but also be very free and liberal about how you want like things to go. Don't put too many restrictions on yourself, because the only thing that you're impeding is your own progress, man. So that's what I would say, man. If you got something, if you want to do something, do it. Episode 1 might not be as dope as episode 20. We all get that. It's all good. Do you go watch Joe Rogan's first like 100 podcasts?
Yeah.
But like, the point that I'm making though is like the same thing that he would say is like, I kept learning next episode. I kept learning the next episode. I kept learning the next episode. There's no way that you're going to get better if you're not training all the time for it.
Yeah. Yeah. To that point, I think you're totally right. I think, there's a part in us, kind of to add to that, there's a part in all of us, especially when we're younger and everything, where we think what we're creating has to be perfect. I like how you said episode 1 doesn't have to be episode 20. You're not going to be perfect. And I think that's a very important message, so that people don't get discouraged, and think that they can't make episode 20, but they're just at 1, so I totally agree. I think that's fantastic.
Love that.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us today. Bowie, do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Yeah, really quick. Who are you listening to right now? Who's hot? Who's coming up? What moves are you liking? And also, what are you listening to that's not hip hop? I think it'd just be interesting to hear.
Music Soul Child is what I've been on a kick on again. That's not hip hop. And who am I listening to right now? That's why it's very difficult to ask a radio DJ who they're listening to right now, because there's so much new, and I'm listening to so much new indie stuff. I'm just listening to indie stuff. So like I'll find someone's album that I am either going to be having music submitted to me for, and then like let Apple kind of have their algorithms and play like the next dude and next dude and next dude. But I would say I'm listening to like Flea Lord. I'm listening to Larry June. I'm listening to London Drugs. I'm listening to it's four. Listening to Four Eyes. IZE. I'm listening to myself. I'm listening to damn, there's so many. Conway the Machine, the whole Griselda camp. So like Benny the Butcher, Black Soprano Family, and then a bunch of new, and then a bunch of indie music, man. So like there's a lot of good stuff. There was a dude that I found today. Like listened to his whole album. His name's Robbie Blair. And
Robbie Blair. I have heard of Robbie Blair, actually.
Okay, I haven't, and so I was like, "Yo, this is dope. I'll add this to the mix." So he had a dope album, and so I'm all over the map when it comes to like some stuff that I'm new to. But those are some of the names that I regularly go back to, and Royce the 5'9" for sure.
Okay, cool. Awesome. What's your plan for future release? Do you have anything coming up, or?
I got an album, then my second album. It's
fantastic.
It started a cascade, so you guys are going to be hearing about me a bunch. But the next one, I'm hoping I'm shooting for early April or late April, but April is what I'm shooting for the next one to drop. I'd like to drop 2 more projects, or 3 projects total this year. I've considered December 18th. It's almost like first quarter. So I intend on dropping 3 other projects this year to fill out the quarters. The next one is going to be called Ode, which is Outwork Everyone Daily.
Nice. And that's a full length album that you're dropping.
Yeah, it'll be
cool.
It won't be I don't know, man. I was gonna say it won't be 17 tracks, but the way that it's like already coming together, I can already see my ass putting like another 15 just out on the map. But it's what I've been thinking about, how with like marketing, like I've been going against a lot of the analytics, and it's been working out for me because I just have I have a pretty good product. So like this, when the spotlight gets onto me for real, like I think that I'll be ready. Like I think I'll have enough of product for people to see and be like, damn, you've been ready. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's another thing I would tell people: just be ready when the spotlight's on you, man. Just be ready when the spotlight's on you. Be prepared.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic, man. Well, I'm stoked to hear it. That'll be awesome.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Beginning April. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I'll finish this. I'll finish what you're asking, and then I'll ask my question. But yes, beginning of April, late April. I'm shooting for beginning of April is what I'm shooting for. And I don't know how many tracks it is, because right now, if we pulled up the playlist, it says 21. And I know I'm not doing 21, but I have 21 beats that I'm looking at. Okay. So my question to you guys is, with this platform, what do you guys hope to accomplish with the artists and shakers that you're going to be talking to? What's your aim here?
So that's a great question. So we've been involved in the music community for a long time, right? For like 8 years we've been playing around and kind of traveled a little bit, but we know the value of the community, right? So when we started this company back in July of last year, essentially the goal was, how do we connect people with the people around them, right? Because right now you can join like Facebook groups and you can get in all that, but there isn't a way to discover exactly who's around you. Like the best example that I have is I had a neighbor up the street from me, and I didn't know he was a rapper. I had no idea. For like 4 years I had no idea that. I mean, he wasn't hardcore. He didn't go at it all the time, right? But he loved doing it, and I wish I would have known, so I could have checked him out, right?
Sure.
And so we're trying to create a platform where the community, you have a radius using your location, and you can see everybody around you and all the shows around them, and where they're playing. And you can, if you check out their account, right, their profile, you can go to all of their pages, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever they have on their Instagram. So you can check it all out from that one spot and track them when they're playing shows. You can track them when they drop new music, you know, so it's like an all-in-one for the community. Wow. So it's been 8 months. We've been working hard at it, but we're trying to give artists that level of kind of middle ground exposure, right? So before you get to the big time, you can actually go throughout your community and connect with other people and collaborate ideas, and also share your music and have it be easy to access, you know? Wow. So we're interviewing a ton of local musicians because we love it. We genuinely love the local community, every local community, but especially this one since we're from here. Sure. And we just want to help musicians, essentially, you know, the whole community get together.
Our whole platform is built on bringing exposure to the local communities, because we feel like it falls in between the cracks. Because for Spotify, you know, you can find local bands, you just have to know who they are first. And it's something like when you go to local shows, we noticed that a lot of the crowd knew the bands personally, like they're their friends, their family, their social groups. Right. So we're trying to fill in the gaps there and say, how do we bring regular people who find songs on, you know, on Shuffle and Spotify and discover like that? How do we get them to discover local music, the people around them? Because they're the most likely to follow these groups and to actually like interact with them and build these connections with them, where they actually go to their shows and buy their merch and all these other things. And you think about it, when you first start as an artist, your initial fan base is your social circle. So maybe if you're lucky, you have like 200 people that'll listen to music, maybe.
Sure.
With our app, you release the song and your immediate audience is potentially your city. So someone clicks on your city, and how many thousand people that is, those are that many thousand people that are probably interested in hearing who you are, at least to hear who's in their area. So it opens up a huge potential for artists to be discovered a lot quicker than it used to be.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty, there's a lot to unpack with that. That's pretty incredible. I mean, the networking, even like as far as opportunities are between artists themselves. Like if I knew like someone just down the street was making beats or something, you know, like, oh, yeah. Yo, man, I just live down the street from you. Like,
yeah. Exactly.
You don't need to like, not that keep doing your grind, but like, yo, I would like to hear your shit too. You know, I didn't even know you made beats. I didn't even know.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And you were talking about, you want to connect the hip hop scene. We feel that way about like every music scene. Like we want these people to know each other. We want the artists to know each other, whether they be hip hop, indie, metal, whatever, so they can know each other and, you know, come together and play these shows and have a more personal connection with who they're playing these shows with. And not only with the artists, but with the venues. We're given access to the venues that have the same platform so that they can be involved in the scene too on a personal level, so that the artists can connect to these venues on a way unheard of before, really, so that they can all work together to make people aware of local music, whether it be live music or recorded music or whatever.
Wow. That's incredible. I'm thinking on different levers in my head as far as like being like a radio radio host. It's incredible because like I don't have to like I don't know. I don't have to like do the regular SoundCloud search or something, and then I can just like put a pin like in Rose Park and be like, hey, show me like a 15-mile radius or like a 10-mile radius or whatever, and then start going through That's amazing. And then as an artist, obviously, as I just mentioned, the networking is wild. And then as a fan, to see what type of noise folks are making is very, very intriguing. That's great. You know, kudos. So on three different levers that speaks to me.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, you know, we're actually we're putting out our closed beta in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I think, the 26th of February. So we would love it if you were part of it. If you wanted to join and, you know, if you like it, you can, you know, share it with whoever you want to. We want to grow a community. We want to make it healthy. You know, we don't take any profit from, the transactions that go through when people, this initial stage, all accounts are free. We're trying to help the community essentially, you know what I'm saying? So it is business. We will like have, down the line, there will be different things, but nobody will have to pay for it, especially not artists to have their material and their work on the platform, right? We want that to always be a free thing.
Say less. Yeah. I'm more than happy. Yeah.
The thing we came to with this platform is we approached it as artists because that's what we were. We were active performers in our music scene for a few years. We played all over the Valley and all that. So we approached it as what would we want as a band? You know, when we were back there with no business skills or no business credence or anything, what would we have wanted as artists to help us move forward? And how do we want it approached? So we didn't approach this as businessmen more than we approach this as artists. So we're making this to make it incredibly simple for artists. And then we approach as listeners too. Like, what do we want to hear out of local music? So we're trying to make it as easy and accessible for everybody as possible, and to not put, you know, fees that we can just gauge and, you know, be greedy off of. We're trying to make it incredibly accessible so that these local music scenes really can thrive and not have to, you know, go deep in their pockets for it. We're even making a way where artists can be tipped directly in the app using in-app currency, and 100% of the proceeds go to the artist. So it's a new way. Instead of like dropping your Venmo, you can just drop a few coins inside the app as you're listening to a song and say, I really like this. I support this guy. So we're just putting as many different ways into it as possible to help these artists have every possible advantage to move forward or just be the best version of themselves they can be.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you sold me. Bowie, you sold me a while ago, Bowie, when you explained it by a DM. But Hunter, this is my first time meeting you. So again, thank you for your time here. Bowie, I have one.
Thank you.
Is it just Bowie? Is that what it?
Yeah, that's what people call me. I go by Bowie.
Okay, all good. I was gonna just ask you, and this is my last question, but how did you come on? You know, how did you find me?
I found you. I believe it was through, I can't remember exactly the hip hop artist. So I went through the hip hop artist. It was someone I knew a few years ago in Salt Lake. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if they're active anymore even. But I clicked the recommended on Instagram, and I scrolled through and I found you, and I checked out a few of your samples and I really liked it. So, you know, I followed you, and I'm trying to become more enveloped in the local scene as possible, especially hip hop, because we were alternative artists. You know, we were playing down in Provo at a place like the Velour with the indie scene. But we didn't have a chance to really connect with the hip hop scene as much as live musicians. So I was really attracted to music and how good it was. I mean, I've been blown away by what I found, not only by you, to be honest, but by all these people in the hip hop scene in Utah. And just people we didn't know, which just gets me really excited to be able to help other people discover these people as well, like you.
It's crazy.
Because your music is incredible. And I was not expecting, to be honest, I was not expecting like to hear this much quality as often as I'm hearing it with hip hop, you know, with like the local musicians. And it's just blowing me away. And I'm so excited to get people like you and your other hip hop artists
contemporaries
and out there to the world. You guys deserve to be heard. Your music is exceptionally good.
I really appreciate that. I'm just, you know, I get curious about, because we've been having extensive conversations, but I get curious about, you know, how did you find me? You know, it's that sales side of part of me, you know, I'm like, oh, well, dude, is it a referral or something, or if I can, you know? Anyway.
Well, hey, it's been great talking to you. Thanks for joining us tonight. We've really enjoyed talking to you.
I appreciate it.
Bowie, do you have anything? Yeah, we really liked it. Bowie, do you have anything else? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I'm just going to plug my last little bit here. Find me on Instagram at Gabino_Grhymes, on Twitter at Gabino Grhymes. Again, GabinoGrhymes.com for the merch, which is Gabino Grhymes signature, or UtahRapper.com. And then you can also stream the album Darvey Hent, which again is a play on words of Harvey Dent, but DARVEY HENT on all DSPs. I have a podcast that I do as well called Short Story Bingo. You can find that on all podcast streaming platforms just by searching Short Story Bingo. I'm a glorified narrator of stories that you have heard and some that you've not. It's like Libro.fm sort of. Think audiobooks with a lot of riffing. And that's also on YouTube. And then of course, check out the Friday Night Fallout show. Follow us on Instagram at Friday Night Fallout. And that's hosted by Keith McDonald and myself, H. Chacon III. every Friday night from 10:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. on KRCL 90.9 FM, and you can also download the app to stream live.